In just hours, a highly anticipated meeting that could bring high drama to the White House. We may only hear about it, but never see it. President Trump will host New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani at the White House this afternoon. And this morning, we're learning about Mamdani's preparation for this high-stakes meeting by calling on some high-profile Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer for advice on how to best communicate with President Trump. The president has been repeatedly insulting Mamdani, threatening to withhold federal funds from New York and referring to him as a communist over and over again, which he is not. Still, Mamdani has said he wants to talk to the president and focus on ways that he can help New Yorkers. CNN's Gloria Pazmino has been following Mamdani's trail for the longest. What are you learning this morning about this meeting?
Look, this is high stakes. This is a really big moment for the mayor-elect, but frankly, also for the president. We have seen in the last few days that President Donald Trump has been speaking about affordability. He has talked about how Democrats use this word and reference to groceries in order to win the last bunch of elections that we saw just a couple of weeks ago. But of course, as we know, affordability in groceries and the cost of living is something that is on the minds of so many Americans and was certainly on the minds of many of the New Yorkers who voted for Zohran Mamdani just a few days ago and elected him to be the next mayor. So we're going to see a very interesting back and forth. Hopefully, for now, we're told that this meeting is behind closed doors. But Sarah, you know things at the White House can be a bit unpredictable. And the question here is whether or not Donald Trump might open up those doors and allow the cameras to come in. And what happens then will be even more interesting, because we've seen how some of these public meetings play out before, where he meets with whether it's state leaders or leaders from other countries. Sometimes he tries to embarrass them. We saw Volodymyr Zelensky get berated for not wearing a suit to the White House. So it could really go off the rails. And Mamdani knows that he has to kind of be on his feet. So he got some advice on how to do that from Senator Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Governor Kathy Hochul. All of them have had conversations and have a relationship, even if a tense one at times, with President Trump. We know that Mamdani is on his way. He tweeted just a short while ago a selfie from what it looks like the inside of an airplane. There you see him. He says it was just an airplane emoji. So he is on his way to D.C. But you know, considering what we know about how these two men have spoken about one another in the last few months, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be closely watching to see how it goes. Take a listen to just how Trump and Mamdani have been talking about each other in recent weeks.
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York, because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers. If an agenda hurts New Yorkers, I will also be the first to say so.
Now, Sarah, as diametrically opposed as these two men are, I also think that they actually have something in common, and that is they both have figured out a very effective way to communicate with their supporters. These two are from New York. They're both from Queens. I think President Trump sees something in Mamdani that perhaps I would venture to say he admires, you know, the way that he has used social media to really reach out to his supporters. And, you know, his focus on affordability and really what is a populist message that he himself used to get so many of his supporters.
Right. The affordability issue is the economy. It's just another word for it. And that's how Donald Trump got into office himself. This is going to be an interesting meeting and what we are all waiting for to see if it is actually going to be made public. We will see. Gloria Pazmino, thank you so much for your great reporting. John.
All right, with us now, Republican strategist Neil Chatterjee and Executive Committee Chair of the New York State Democratic Committee, Christine Quinn, a New York City person through and through. And Christine, let me ask this to you. I know it's the wrong neighborhood. They're both from Queens. But if this were like a West Side Story thing, what happens when the Sharks and the Jets both show up to the Oval Office? What's going to happen today?
Well, I think the ending's going to be very different than it was in the play or the movie. You know, look, the mayor-elect is doing what is customary, going to see the president, the mayor-elect of the biggest city in the country, and he's going to take his affordability agenda to the president, and hopefully they will be able to find some common ground, because the mayor-elect has said over and over, he'll work with anybody who is committed to making the lives of New Yorkers better and more affordable.
Do you feel, Neil, that that is where the incentive structure is here from a political standpoint? Do both of these men have an incentive to behave and make this a constructive discussion, or are they perhaps incentivized to make it a show?
Yeah, look, this is all going to be theater, and maybe not the Sharks and the Jets. My daughter is starring in The Outsiders later today. It's the Socs versus the Greasers. This is going to be pure theater. It is good politics for both of them. For the president, he wants to elevate Mamdani. He wants him to be the face of the National Democrat Party. He wants Republicans to run against Mamdani in the midterms, and this is a way of platforming him, giving him a big stage, putting him on the stage, making him that figure. For the mayor-elect, this is an opportunity to demonstrate fight. That's what the Democrat base wants right now. They want someone who's willing to go toe-to-toe and fight with President Trump. I do think this will be largely theatric. I do think, as was previously mentioned, these guys kind of, have similar approaches, though different ideologies. And I think this is great for both of them, to be totally honest, politically.
All right, if Neil is right, Christine, this is The Outsiders. Will Mamdani stay gold, Pony Boy? If President Trump does go after him, as a constituent here in New York City, do you want him to rise to the occasion? Do you want to see him? Is it more important that he goes toe-to-toe with the president, or is it more important that he charms him and gets what he wants from him?
Well, I think we can all agree his campaign was both Tony Award winning and Academy Award winning. But that said, keeping this theme going, look, I think the mayor-elect is incredibly focused on getting every level of government and every level of society committed to making the biggest city in the country more affordable for everyone. So no matter what your job is, you can have a full, dignified life, a life where your children can do better than you. I think he is going there, with an open heart and open mind to see where they can come together. I don't believe, knowing the mayor-elect, that this is really about theater. It's about trying to get a goal accomplished. We're out of the campaign. We're into governing.
Mm-hmm. So what's interesting is that Zohran Mamdani has been talking about affordability since he launched his campaign, and he's been doing it in a way that connected with voters. Neil, President Trump has been using the word affordability for like a week and doesn't seem to like it. You can see him almost say, they call it affordability. He puts it almost in air quotes there. And it seems to be something the administration is having a challenge discussing. Listen to what J.D. Vance, the vice president, says about this.
Even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience. This economy was not harmed in 10 months.
So now, Neil, they're saying people have to wait a little bit. While they were running the campaign, it was the type of thing like day one, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Now they're going to have to wait. But to what extent do you think that the White House is struggling, not with the economy, but with the messaging on the economy?
Yeah, look, they're making missteps, to be totally candid. My background's in energy and electricity. Electricity prices were a huge issue in the November elections in Virginia, in New Jersey. Electricity prices are through the roof, and inexplicably, the administration has been taking steps to create obstacles to the deployment of clean energy, of solar and battery storage and wind, at a time when demand is through the roof and we need every available electron. I think they have time to get it right, but they need to make some shifts on policy. Don't constrain clean energy at a moment in time when we need it. If you want to bring down electricity prices, let's unleash all of the above energy, which is what the president talked about on the campaign trail. They haven't governed in that way. I'm hoping they will course correct.
Neil Chatterjee, Christine Quinn,
And
thank you.
John, the problem,
Go ahead.
The problem with having to wait with all of these failed policies is people lose their jobs, people lose their homes. Time is a terrible thing. in this affordability crisis. It's real life for Americans.
Yep. You know, just in terms of political messaging, saying wait is always a hard thing to sell. But we'll see what else they have over the next coming days and weeks. Neil Chatterjee, Christine Quinn, great to see you both. Thanks for playing along.